Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the NFL DFS preview for Week 9. Week 8 is in the books. We're going to take a look at Week 8 as well, but what we're going to do is a little different than what we've done prior. Prior, we have gone and looked at the winning contests and the perfect lineups. Let's check back and see how the good old team defense tool did last week and review it that way. I think that is a fun way to go about it as well. And, can kind of check some biases and whatnot. I know biases this last week got me a little bit. And the bias was for James Cook, for me personally. Panthers have been a solid run defense as of late. And so I steered away from them, but more so my biases about Cook's playing time, because years prior, Cook had struggled to really get a ton of playing time, but the last 4 weeks or so coming into last week, he had played a decent amount. And I know I had trouble plugging him into lineups because of that bias, but ended up being the right way to go. So unfortunately, biases sometimes can get us, and I want to check back at that. But before we get into it, I'm your host, Tyler Weeman, and come join us at LionStar, $39.99 per month. Gets you access to all we do, the props, the DFS. You get it all, one low price. And if you are not aware, we do have a free trial option through the app stores or the website. You get 7 days free. Thank you guys for joining us. Josh, I appreciate it. Keem, as always, thank you guys for showing up. We have a very interesting week. So, oops, I got to click a different tab to look at the whole team profile, but this is why I think it's a super interesting week. So we got a 52.5 game total, KC versus Buffalo, the last game on the slate. And then we have a 48.5, a 50.5, a 52.5, and a 47.5. So we have multiple games that people are going to want to be all around. And this week, the Dallas Cowboys are not on the main slate, so that's not the easy pickings that everybody is going to go to. Thank you, Keem, for pointing that one out also. Now let's dig in to what we got on our running back team defense tool. And up top, we got Tony Pollard versus the LA Chargers. Now, I'm not going to be able to get to much Tony Pollard. I can tell you that right off the bat. Simply put, is the fact that he's pretty much splitting work just means that volume isn't going to be there, and then projections aren't going to be there. And if we go over the last few weeks, the last 3 weeks in playing time for Tony Pollard, 43% of the snaps, 57% of the snaps, 46 for Spears, 59%, 43, and 52%. Spears is being heavily involved. He's more involved in the passing game. And with that, I kind of don't really care to get to Tony Pollard. I don't think the ceiling is there. I don't think that 2 touchdown opportunity is there. And without much involvement in this passing game, you got to get the 2 TDs to have that ceiling. So I'm kind of out on Tony Pollard, even though he is in our top matchup. Next, we got DeAndre Swift versus Cincinnati, who are 31st versus the running back. Swift has been beasting lately. Man has been playing. It is a little bit of a timeshare here in Cincinnati or in Chicago as well, but 11 for 45, 2 for 26, and a tutty last week versus Baltimore. Week prior, 19 for 124 and a tutty, 14 for 108 and a tutty. The man has been getting it done ever since the bye week, and I'm absolutely fine going to him in this spot. It's another spot where it is kind of split. You know, he's taken about 55% of the work, and Monangai is taken around 45%. And Monangai was involved a little bit in the red zone. So it does make Monungai playable this week as well. But even with the split, I'm okay going with DeAndre Swift. If they get him in space, he can make big plays happen, and that's the big deal here. So I'm fine going for it, and this spot is just amazing. Cincinnati's 32nd versus the opponent running back. They're allowing 132 yards a game and 1 touchdown, and giving it up in the passing game. So there's a ton of ways that DeAndre Swift can make it happen. Next, we got Jahmyr Gibbs. He's versus Minnesota. Minnesota has been a little bit of a run funnel, and that's shown up big time in the team defense tool with the rushing metric. Huge boost to the rushing side, and we know who Gibbs is. Gibbs is just a dominant running back, so electric. 5-star alert score in him in here. He's at home. He has a giant ceiling like we saw versus Tampa Bay a couple weeks ago. Now they're coming off the bye, and he's in a great spot. I'm absolutely fine getting into plenty of Jahmyr Gibbs. And if Minnesota can keep this one close, we could see a big dose of Gibbs. Surprisingly, he's, been right around 60% of the snap share. He is the guy, especially when the game stays close. His snap share can get up to 70. So definitely like me some Gibbs this week. Isaiah Pacheco. Now, this is an interesting one with KC. Isaiah Pacheco, and it hasn't gone widely reported, but he has an MCL injury. And they're not calling him day to day. They're calling him week to week. So I think it is likely that Pacheco misses this week. So that means we got Kareem Hunt and we got Brashard Smith. Brashard Smith is super exciting, but Kareem Hunt is going to get the goal line work. Brashard Smith only played 13% of the snaps last week. Pacheco 58, Kareem Hunt 32%. I think it's likely Kareem Hunt's job, but Brashard Smith might be used between the 20s a lot, and he can definitely get yardage, but I think it's going to be Hunt all around the goal line in what should be a very high scoring game. KC, if these guys are cheap, those running backs do become a little bit interesting here. Kamani Vidal versus Tennessee. This is an absolute slam. Vidal has been playing great. He's getting a ton of work. He has upside versus a poor Tennessee defense. And I mean, we're seeing 22 and 24-point games from him. He's playing like a legit RB1 here, and Tennessee's been giving it up. They're 31st on the year at the running back or versus the running back spot. And with how Vidal is playing, I think it's absolutely a slam dunk. And then Tyrone Tracy, I feel like we got to talk about. Unfortunately, we had the terrible incident this week where Scattaboo, pour one out for the Scattaboos or Scattaboys. They had a rough weekend, but Tyrone Tracy, it's his job. Let me catch up on the chat here. Spears takeover. Yes. Gibbs is a beast. Absolutely. Taking Gibbs receiving yards versus Vikings. I like that one as well. Team. All right. Now let's get over to the wide receiver room and see what we got over here. Amon-Ra St. Brown versus the Vikings at home. You really like Amon-Ra at any point, especially at home in what could be a close game. That's when he can really, really go nuts. He's also done very well versus the Vikings in the past. And one of the things that I wanted to kind of like shout out here with talking about Amon-Ra is his counterpart, Jameson Williams, been a total no-show versus the Vikings. So the most likely path for wide receiver production in this game is Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he's stepping in pretty high in our team defense tool. Romeo Dobbs, 31st, or Carolina's 31st versus the WR1. Obviously an interesting spot. The only thing is just, his upside is so limited except for that like fluky 3 TD game. And if Carolina can't keep this one close, then Jordan Love doesn't pass Rashee Rice. Absolutely slam spot. He is up to 8,200, but ugh, the dude has been insane since he's been coming back and still on limited snaps. Last night he did get up to 86%. The first one, it was 41%. He has 9 targets and 10 targets in his 2 games and added 2 carries last night. Has 3 touchdowns in 2 games. I think you can absolutely go back to that well in this spot. Michael Pittman versus the Steelers. Pittman needs some volume. So that is the only worry here. We need a spot where Pittsburgh's able to put up some points. If they're putting up points versus the Colts, Pittman is in a great spot and could get, that like 25 point fantasy night. But outside of that, without that volume, he's going to be more of this 7 for 70 and maybe gets in the end zone type thing, which is great for fantasy, but not great to win a big GPP. All right, now let's get in and look at what happened last week with our team defense tool from last week. Let's get over to the main slate because that's what we talk. Bijan Robinson. This is one of the biggest duds I've ever seen where a guy does not get hurt. It's Bijan versus the cake matchup, and the Falcons just couldn't do anything. Maybe it's the Kirk Cousins effect. I don't know what happened, but they absolutely blew it. And I think everybody is still shocked at that outing. Just goes to show you, even in the best matchup, somebody can fail. Jonathan Taylor, just what an insane run this man is having. To have 5 games of over 30 points already, it's absolutely insane. And I am excited to keep watching what he can do. If he can keep up this type of rate production, it's like a top 3 running back fantasy performance in history. Alvin Kamara put up a dud. Woody Marks continues to put his mark, no pun intended, for Houston there. He just keeps getting it done through multiple different ways. He hasn't put up a big score outside of this week 4 spot, but he is taking more snap share. It was a pretty big split last week, 44 to Chubb, 40% to Marks. But the thing is that he had 40% in a game that Houston totally controlled all game. So I think that does go to show that he is taking over this job, and I think he is interesting from here on out. And I don't mind playing plenty of Woody Marks. J.K. Dobbins had himself a game. So far the tool is pretty good. Chuba, I mean, what can you say? Carolina got blown out here, and it's a split backfield, but he did get a touchdown. He, was okay. Just hopefully Dowdle takes over this job altogether, because Dowdle actually, has some explosiveness. 8 for 54 for Dowdle. So it was a decent matchup, just split between 2 guys. All right, guys, that is going to do it for us today. Quick preview of what we got going on in week 9 with a quick review of our team defense tool from last week. Let's get after it. And good luck on your NBA lineups tonight. The slate is starting soon. We will be back later for more NFL stuff, trying to get the Thursday night picks out this afternoon. And then on Wednesday, get the NFL DFS for Thursday night. You all have a good one. Talk to you later. Peace.